A sickening prank by foolish teenagers, a killer grandmother with a creepy nickname, and a dog that took loyalty to a whole new level. Do you think our stories are based on truth, or are they figments of our imaginations? Tonight we're going to test your ability to decipher between fact or fiction.
The line that divides the factual from the unreal has long since blurred. The tales we once thought fantastical, now implanted as truth. To decipher verity from the imagined, you must break from the ordinary and consider a universe where the outlandish prevails. Can you expand your mind to see beyond our perceived reality? Can you decide what's fact or fiction?
Teenagers are known for being up to no good, and sometimes lighthearted pranks can quickly turn sour. Richard Cook is perfect proof when a friendly game of truth or dare got out of hand.
18-year-old Richard had always been kind of nerdy, and although he had a great group of friends, they were known to tease him mercilessly. Despite being a smart kid, Richard was always in trouble at school for acting out and pulling pranks after his friends had egged him on. But in the summer of 1994, in the small city of Leavenworth, Washington, Richard's friends would push him to do something truly despicable. It started as a fun night at Pete's house, a friend of Richard's. While his parents were out, they watched TV and snuck liquor from Pete's parents' stash. When someone suggested a game of truth or dare, Richard knew that he'd be forced to do something awful. And sure enough, after a couple of rounds, Pete made his move. "I dare you to go to the graveyard and dig up a body." Richard was disgusted and, of course, said no, but the other boys plied him with more booze until finally he gave in and agreed. The group of intoxicated teenagers headed to the small graveyard in town armed with a shovel, and once they got there, Pete instructed Richard to start digging. Reluctantly, he chose an old-looking grave and did as he was told. It took time, but eventually he made it down to the old wooden coffin, and a quick jimmy with the shovel lifted the lid to reveal the poor dead soul within. The entire group lost their nerve upon seeing the skeleton and ran back to Pete's as fast as they could, leaving Richard trailing behind with the shovel. What the boys didn't know is that CCTV cameras saw everything, and Richard was arrested the next day. In the end, he was charged with a misdemeanor and given a fine, and hopefully a new set of better friends.
Teenagers can certainly be guilty of poor decision-making, but would you go to these extremes to impress friends? Let us know what you think in the comments section below and vote by using the on-screen poll. Next, we have a horrifying tale of a killer that you would never have suspected.
When you think about grandmothers, you think of sweet old ladies that could never hurt a fly, right? Well, sadly, that's not always the case, as murderess Mildred Brown will prove. Mildred of Auburn, Alabama, married her first husband in the early 1920s at 16 and had 4 daughters with him. What started off as a fairly good marriage soon descended into despair when 2 of the couple's daughters died suddenly and suspiciously. Mildred chalked it up as food poisoning, but her husband, Charlie, wasn't so convinced. He was so frightened of his wife, in fact, that he escaped with their eldest daughter. Charlie's decision probably saved his life, as he was the only one of her husbands to survive being married to her. Mildred would marry a further 4 times, and all 4 men would die from suspicious reasons. It wasn't until the 4th husband was sent for an autopsy because of his sudden and unexplained death that they found enough arsenic to kill 40 horses in his system. Mildred confessed to poisoning him and to doing the same to the other 3 dead men to claim life insurance policies. During her court case, Mildred also confessed to killing her mother, sister, grandson, and one of her mothers-in-law. It's also speculated that she killed 2 of her children and a newborn granddaughter, but that was never proven. So, why did this dastardly woman become known as the Giggling Nanny? During the trial, Mildred smiled and giggled as she recounted her crimes, and she seemed excited at the prospect of spending life in prison. She was, in fact, sentenced to life in prison and continued to keep up her cheery disposition. She even joked that she'd offer to work in the prison kitchen, but nobody would take her up on her offer because of her reputation as a ruthless poisoner.
Female serial killers do exist, although extremely rare. But has there been a female serial killer this ruthless? Do some people really look forward to spending life in prison? Let us know what you think in the comments section, and again by using the online poll as we prepare for our 3rd and final story for this evening. Dogs are known for being man's best friend, and their loyalty is second to none. But Holly the dog took that one step further when she went the distance to find her beloved owner.
They say that dogs are the loyalest of the loyal, and little Holly the Boston Terrier proved this by literally going the extra mile to find her beloved owner. Holly's adventure started when her owner, Nancy, went into Spencer Hospital in Iowa for a routine surgical procedure. Nancy was staying overnight and had left her husband Dale at home looking after Holly and their other dog, Barney. Holly clearly missed her mom because on the afternoon of the surgery, she waited until Dale's back was turned and made a run for it to go looking for her. Dale was horrified when he realized that Holly was missing. They'd only moved into the house 3 months earlier, so he wasn't sure that she knew the area well enough to find her way back home again. But Holly wasn't looking for her home. She was looking for the hospital that Nancy was being treated in. And somehow, some way, she managed to find it. She walked 20 blocks to the hospital and entered the lobby through 2 automatic doors before roaming the corridors looking for Nancy. Nobody knows how Holly found the hospital or how she even knew that Nancy was there. But it just goes to show that dogs are truly our best friends.
Dogs do tend to have a great sense of direction, and they're fiercely loyal. But still, how could a little Boston Terrier navigate 20 blocks to find her owner? Is it simply a coincidence that that's where she ended up? Or did Holly use her sense of smell to track her down? Or maybe this entire story is fictional and just meant to cheer you up. Once again, let us know what you think while we get prepared for the moment we've all been waiting for, the reveal.
Are you ready to find out if you can decipher between fact or fiction? Let's look back at tonight's 3 stories and find out which were born from reality and which were fabrications of the imagination.
First, we're heading back to Washington and to our grave-digging teenagers. Did a group of friends really dig up a grave just for fun? How could a smart kid like Richard be so foolish? Well, we can tell you that our story isn't based on any specific recorded event. Richard and his friends don't exist, but the tale has probably happened at some point in time. Next, we're back in Alabama to the horrifying story of Mildred Brown. Did a granny really murder multiple members of her own family and then laugh about it? We're sorry to say that, yes, she certainly did. Nanny Doss of Blue Mountain, Alabama was almost the first woman in her state to be executed, but after a judge ruled her to be insane, she narrowly escaped the electric chair. Finally, we're in Iowa revisiting Holly the Superdog. Did she really manage to navigate 20 blocks across a neighborhood that she didn't know to find her owner in the hospital? Why, yes, she certainly did. Sissy the mini schnauzer walked all the way to Cedar Rapids Medical Center to find her sick human, and nobody can work out just how he did it.
How well did you do in tonight's video? Did you look past the deception of our world and define the off-blurred line that struggles to separate lies from the truth? Let us know in the comment section below. And should you find the urge to test your perceptions again, be sure to subscribe and join us next time when we ask you to decide what's fact or fiction.